Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome to Fantasy Forecast for Tuesday, January 3rd, 2016. Scores behind you, 299.7. You can see I won some 50-50s with it, but that's pretty much all it won. It was just so on the edge, it was not even funny. I'm biting your nails, and would it go through or not for a double up, and did not pay for double ups, and it did pay for 50-50s. It was so on the edge, it wasn't even funny. It was a lesson why you take like the lowest paying games once in a while, even with Butler. And Butler was a saving grace, obviously. I mean, McRae started with 15 minutes. Go figure, guys. Move on to today. It happens, and you know, it is what it is. Let's look at the point guard position today. There is no spend ups today. In terms of the slate, I mean, you can spend up for Boogie. He's your only above $10,000 price guy. After that, it goes right to Wall, which is like a huge drop, and that's about it. And you got Cat in there too. Maybe it's a decent play against Philly, but that's just, there's so little on this slate, which is shocking for an 8-game slate. Really, honestly, my friends, you have 7 slow teams playing just right on down the list. I mean, pull your games up and list them off. Minnesota, slow pace. Detroit, slow pace. Utah, slow pace. San Antonio, slow pace. Dallas, slow pace. Sacramento and Denver is somewhat okay, but Sacramento has dropped down in pace. I mean, they're still in the bottom third of the league or somewhere around there. So, somewhat slow. And Miami, bottom. Memphis, bottom. It's just miserable today, guys. I don't know what to say. So, with every team facing a slower pace downgrade in some ways, you're going to want to target against the other directions and, try to pick up a little bit of ancillary value or teams that, a Phoenix playing a slow team isn't as much, but a slow team playing a Phoenix, some of those guys can get little bits of bumps and upgrades, and you can find little pieces of hidden value here and there. Now, everyone across the industry is going to have TJ McConnell today. That's an easy one because with Sergio Rodriguez out for Philly, I mean, at the point guard position here, so you're going to need McConnell in there because if he runs 38 minutes at the point guard for them, it's almost difficult not to pay value at $4,600. I mean, I had to look there for a second, but I mean, as long as he's treading below 5, it looks like that's just fine. Your other spot is Dragic. Miami is so hurt and beat up today, and since Dragic is coming in and playing and is just off the injury, I'm inclined to think that since he played one game in the middle of these little absences and then, no, he wasn't ready to play yet, we need to rest him some more. Now he's had another 5 days. They probably pretty thoroughly checked him out, and I don't think they'd be running him back into play unless he was really running into play. And they're so hurt that I don't think it's unreasonable to expect him to run a good 32, 33 minutes today. And if Dragic can run 33 minutes today, then you're going to have to be happy against Phoenix because there's your pace upgrade with a guy that's only 7,000. So Dragic and McConnell for your point guard positions on our cash lineup. And going farther down the point guard position, some people might be looking at Rubio today because he's been putting up decent numbers lately. Tyler Johnson will be coming to play because he's versatile enough to shift into the 2 or 3. Miami's really beat up, guys. I mean, it's really bad over there. So, let's see, Shelvin Mack. Shelvin Mack looks like a nice value at point guard today. I have no problem mentioning him out. As long as Hill is out and Exum is out, he's still going to get a majority of the minutes run. The problem is this is the kind of guy that just is a body on the court. And his fantasy value kind of starts and stops from the second he gets his hands on the ball. Because if he doesn't do something with it for those hands on the ball, then it's done. If he just passes out again, you lose. So you want the assist for that last pick of him, or which doesn't come so much, or you want him to just shoot. And with Shelvin Mack not getting his hand on the ball as much, that's where your problem really comes in with him. Now, I'm not saying he can't easily hit value when you're shoved into a role of 35 plus minutes, but in general, that's really his issue. And even when he sees 30, that's why you're kind of like, what is he not doing so much for me? I prefer McConnell because McConnell's shown life before, and McConnell with 38 to 40 minutes of run, it's just going to be the absolute best on the board today in terms of minute run and at a lower price dollar point. At your shooting guard today, God, this was an ugly position. DeRozan sits at the top at 7,900, and after that you have nothing. Now San Antonio, recently they've been a little bit weaker against the shooting guard position, but I think that's only due to Leonard being out and shifting off their rotations just a touch. That's all. And it hasn't been a dramatic change. I mean, percentages do matter, I'll give you that. But I take DeRozan here because there's no other way to spend up in this slate, and he has been solid. I mean, he'll still give you 40 points even on the bad matchups. So, you know, if he ends up stinking because it's a Dallas, he only gives me 33 today, I'm just going to still be happy and be like, you know, I got 33 points out of position. If the lineup looks good all the way through and still cashes, I'm going to be fine with that. This is just a strange, ugly slate today, and I just know that. You can feel it when you play DFS enough. Levine is so shot dependent. Now I'm just hoping that, you know, Philly's going to be thrown off a little bit, to be quite honest, and that he's going to be able to get a few outside threes today. I don't really see another way to say it, because people will say, you know, he's well-rounded, he does stuff, but really all he does is dunk. You guys see the dunks, that's why you know his name and everything. So it's more, you know, do I think he can bust down 30 or 35 points today? And at a really weak position, it's either spend up a touch at guys that you like a little bit more, or spend down to nothing. And you guys can make those choices today. You know, so I'm going through the slate just a touch. KCP at shooting guard, and Richardson as well. Richardson will get so much run today with Miami. Even at 5,900, he can probably pay that value and go above 30 fantasy points, which is a little more than 5x. I'd be passing on Booker, but KCP looks great to me today. I like KCP too, and I think he's a cheap run-in. You could even consider pulling Levine and go KCP, but the problem with a cash game lineup is that you really want to spend as much as you can in points per dollar, and you average other things out. But, I mean, if I was going tournament, I would consider KCP instead. I don't see a problem with leaving some money on the table today in a couple slots, you know, if you just find the perfect lineup. I have no issues with that. At the small forward today, let's look down. Will Barton maybe, but the minutes are just so up in the air along with Harris. Who knows where their minutes are going to land is my biggest problem. If you knew Harris was going to get 35 minutes, he looks good. If you knew Barton would get 35 minutes, he'd look good. But neither one of them is guaranteed that, so go figure. Denver, just like Phoenix, just like Orlando, just one of those teams where they just do not have it on straight and have not figured out how to run their rotations. Let's just do whatever the hell we want with our guys. Who gives a crap? Frustrating for fantasy, but, you know, the fans don't notice it and they don't care, so, you know, it's basketball, and it's just something you have to live with and deal with. And you have to absorb it and get better as a DFS player, you know. My frustration is unwarranted. At your small forward, TJ Warren. Hard to imagine TJ Warren not being chalk at small forward today. Just as long as he's going to get the starter run of minutes, and it looks like that's where they're going to go now. Now, calling Phoenix minutes is tough too, but TJ Warren has got, 40 minutes on his last game, really? And this is second, you know, so if he's going to get the starts, well then, sounds good. I'll take TJ Warren, he'll probably be chalk, even against Miami, but it's 4,900 for 35 minutes of run. So that's what people are looking at. Wilson Chandler, you could kind of say the same thing, but again, that's Denver, so you don't know if he's going to get 25 minutes or 35 minutes. Leonard at the top of the small forward position, but I don't like it against Toronto. I think that, I could be wrong, and that could be the smart spend up of the day. Maybe you just double up at, small forward and go Leonard and George. George, though, had a good game against Detroit before in the season, and I don't think he's going to have another one because Detroit's actually pretty good against the 3 slot, so I would kind of steer off it a touch, but that's just me. Play PG if you like him, along with Leonard. They're both GBP picks, kind of what I'm saying. Wiggins, this is why the slate is difficult today, guys. Wiggins is scoring dependent. He could put down some shots. On a smaller slate, I'd say take him. On a bigger slate, I'd be avoiding. So this is more like, and you shouldn't be choosing guys based on the slate. You should be choosing guys based upon, opportunity. I don't like everyone bunching together and playing a bunch of $5,000 guys and saying, yeah, this is DFS. I want skill, not, God, this matchup sucks. God, this matchup sucks. God, this matchup sucks. And, you're not really happy playing the lineup you're running in with. That's why I'm telling everyone play light today. I'm kind of playing because, I'm into making sure that I do good lineups every day for you guys now. But this would be a day normally I might just take off. TJ Warren up in there. Gordon Hayward at your other spot. I like him against Boston. But it's one of those spots that Boston is weak against, and I think that you can go ahead and take advantage of that. He's $8,000, but on this slate, you're going to have to spend up in some places, and I think he can give you over 40 again today, which is nice. Jokic. Okay, so yeah, he's probably going to get 3 fouls, by the middle of the second quarter. We know it. I don't know what to tell you guys. I mean, he's like a fantasy beast like Embiid, and God, if he gets 36 minutes of run somehow, some way, I mean, he's a 50-point fantasy guy. Just, you got a 50 dime right there for $7 grand. So I can't not pass it by, and I think that, if he gets 30 minutes that he'll still get what he needs, because I figure a guy normally does 1.2 fantasy points per minute. That's normally a historical high of an average. You can spike up to 1.5 or have games where you do 2 or something like that, individual ones, but to spike up to 1.5 for a sustained term, the only person I've seen do it is Russell Westbrook. Jokic I like today. You can spend up to Aldridge if you want. He's had some decent games here recently, but I think a lot of that has come out with Leonard being out for a little bit. Now that Leonard's back, I think you can drop off Aldridge a bit. He's gotten pricey compared to when, you were paying like what, $6,000 for just a week or two ago, and now he's $7,900. That's just way out of what I would pay. Zebo, 6-man against the Lakers, but that could pay off. I think that's a good GPP pick. It looks like Johnson's going to miss for Miami. That's another one of those pieces that is just out there. So don't be thinking that, that's where you're going to find the Miami value. Probably not today. Ilyasova, he could always have a good game. Pass on Nowitzki. Thad Young looks interesting just because the price is starting to get to where, and he's consistent. He normally gives you 25 points. Just don't see enough ceiling with Thad Young for a GPP. But for a cash game, if you land there, this is a rough power forward slot. Just go with it in all means. No problem. Marcus Morris might get a little extra run today. I might go there. He's already gets enough, but I mean, with a Dallas opponent, it's just, you're trying to find anything that might fit now at these prices. I mean, you got to steer off favors because he's just not taking enough shots to pay off his price. Saric looks good for Philly. I mean, now you're getting cheap enough where it's like, okay, if you see 25, 30 minutes of run, then, I can take that. At the bottom, Sykeem. I mean, he's probably going to get another start today. That's just absence related and stuff. I mean, but if you need a cheap way to escape the power forward position, why not? Just, roster him and don't even think about it. You get 15, 20 fantasy points, move on. It's fantasy glue. Randall in your other power forward slot today, I have no issues with that against Memphis. In his last 4 games, only 1 stinker. The other 3 were beautiful performances that well exceed his value and price. I would take that even against Miami because a couple of them were against slow teams. Like one was against Dallas. So Randall looks fine. He's very healthy coming back from the break, and he's a little sleeper. Might really help your power forward slot today. At center, on FanDuel, you've only got 2 choices, really. You got Embiid and you got Cousins at the top because they both have the opportunity cost and the matchups. Cousins is just a little bit expensive for me. I mean, yeah, I know he can put up 55 or 60 points, but on this type of a slate, it's okay with, that's a tournament pick for me. He might end up anchoring cash games though. So, I mean, you could, like I said, there's a couple ways to swap out, and I've mentioned just about every player today. I wouldn't bother with Cat against Philly today. Embiid probably sucks a few of those rebounds and other things away from his usage. He just does. So I don't think Cat's in line for a really high performance today. People might be on gasoline against the Lakers, and I think that's an okay way to run. Pivot off of Towns instead. Cousins, gasoline, maybe, just because you know how to find a way to be different from what everyone knows, which is Cousins and Embiid. After that, everyone else is going to be a little bit of a sleeper. Drummond, Gobert, Horford. Any one could just have a decent game, but in terms of what looks good for a matchup or anything like that, no one else does. All right, that's going to do it for Fantasy Forecast for today. I'm sorry that I don't have a DraftKings lineup for today. My friend Chris, he hit 400 on DraftKings NBA just the other night, so you guys might want to follow him on Twitter. I know he does NBA articles daily, and you guys can look at those, and for DraftKings, they're probably pretty helpful. I'll put his link in the description on this video. And that's about it though. Your cash game lineup for FanDuel for today. Dragic and McConnell at the point guard positions, Levine and DeRozan at your shooting guards, Warren and Hayward at your small forward, Jokic and Randall at your power forwards, and Embiid for your center today. Thank you guys so much for watching Fantasy Forecast. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. You'll get alerts for whenever new videos come up, and you help support this free channel. And thank you guys so much. If you liked the video, if you liked today's lineup, if you won some money yesterday, if you have questions, go ahead and comment, and I try to comment on the video once a day. That's it. Go on out there and go win some big money today.